Welcome everyone to
Souls
Talking Brain. Da-da-da-da.
Welcome back. Woohoo! We've been gone for a while, actually.
Yes. Well, we are on alternating weeks right now, and we missed.
We missed
one.
I think we missed 2 weeks.
We didn't miss it.
No.
We just didn't broadcast.
Yeah.
For that 1 week because we've been doing some major transcending of our own.
Yes, transcending. So we are back, and welcome back to you as well.
Yay! Why don't we actually speak about that for a little bit with respect to the transcending? There were 2 eclipses that occurred.
Yes, there was
recently.
There was 2. Well, there's major transitions happening right now, cosmically speaking, which is actually happening and occurring, and we ourselves are experiencing all of it. I don't know if people are aware of it or not, but the very first eclipse that actually happened was the full moon eclipse, and that was on, I think it was the end of June. I'm not sure the exact date, but it was the end of June. And that was quite a powerful eclipse. And what eclipses really mean. If those of you who don't know what solar eclipse or lunar eclipse mean, is it's just a transition. It's a transitional stage, the same way as when the moon is waning and waxing or going full or new. It's a transition, right? So it's a beginning and an ending.
Isn't it also that there's an actual eclipsing happening?
Well,
between the sun and the moon?
Exactly. So the eclipsing is the sun and the moon sort of pretty much overlapping. The lunar eclipse is that the sun is going in front. Is it back? I'm trying to think of how it is, because the sun covers the moon. The sun is covering the moon, and then the solar eclipse is the moon is covering the sun, right?
Yeah.
Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
In either case, what they signify is change, and not just a change, day-to-day change, but a major transition. Transcending. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And the second eclipse that happened was in July, right?
It was only
July
a few
2nd,
weeks afterwards.
Yeah, it was
the
literally
new moon and it was the new moon and full moon.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
So
it was exactly the full moon first, and then it was the solar eclipse, which happens on the new moon. It was quite amazing, and I don't know how everyone has been feeling. Has anyone felt any changes or any emotional transcendence? A lot of people go through emotional intensity.
In order to transcend, one has to deal with whatever is keeping them from transcending in the first place.
Yeah.
So transcendence, most of us are very we have a very romanticized idea. Mm-hmm. We see a lot of the videos and yogis and gurus and mentors and teachers speaking about transcendence and enlightenment, and oftentimes, especially with those who meditate, like the Kundalini, mm-hmm. where you're awakening the Kundalini and opening up your chakras.
Your chakras, yeah.
And you see displayed in these videos this very romanticized idea of the Kundalini snake, or the energy, essentially, the chi, the chai, there's so many different words.
The chai. Chai is really good, by the way. I love chai.
Moving up the through the chakras,
yeah,
and opening each one up and allowing for a clear pathway of light
of your natural points
to be going through.
Right.
And what they don't see and what's not realized is, in order for that light to traverse through all of your chakra systems, and for there to be a beautiful, clean, clear conduit of
flow
light from top to bottom and back up and down again,
right,
means that you have to be clear. It means that the pathway must be clear.
No clogs.
That there's
no drain,
blocks.
no clogs.
Exactly.
No residue.
So, and what are our blocks? What is the residue? Fear.
Yeah.
It's illusory.
Yeah.
Fears that we have created. And so, in order for someone to experience the rising of the Kundalini, or transcendence, or enlightenment, which we all see as this big, wow.
Well,
we're only seeing the last phase of that, though.
Yeah, we're not.
In order to get to the
to the release,
you need to go through each phase, and while
is
you're
that
going,
really how we're going through it, like this?
Yes. Yes, I think so.
I like that. I kind of like going through it like this. Then
Well, that's why you have it as like the snake, right? It's going, and we're vibration, and vibration is not straight. Vibration is vibrating. Frequency, where energy is vibrating according to a frequency. There's a wave that we are vibrating upon. We are never still. Even when we think we're still, we're not still. With 100 trillion cells vibrating continuously, we're always in movement. So yes, it is. Which is why I guess you guys see me doing that a lot.
It is.
But so yes, so there's in order to get to the moment of transcendence or enlightenment, you need to do some digging. You need to do some cleaning, and therefore facing fears that are not necessarily so in the process of so doing.
Well, then let me ask you this: being that we just brought in the cosmic changes that are happening planetary, astronomically, which is the eclipses and these alignments, and so obviously the different positions that the planets are moving towards, they are transitioning in between. Is affecting us whether we know it or not, and that's just a fact.
Well, yes.
So then my question would be: is this, now that this is happening a lot more so with the double eclipses, and they do happen two eclipses within the same range of the week, within the weeks? Is this all? It's the transcendence that personally that I'm feeling, and a lot of people that we've spoken to, that we know of, that have been feeling, is quite enormous. Is this all pathway to getting ready to 212?
Well, that's what a lot of people say.
Okay.
Yes.
Or is it, or even just the age of Aquarius, right? Which is the...
Yes. It doesn't really matter what people would like to attribute it to. There are certain facts. And actually, I don't know if we have a screenshot that showcases our address on YouTube, but if you go, we have a YouTube channel.
Yeah, it's just Souls Talking Brain, actually. It's so it's one word.
Yeah,
that's
Souls
the user. Yeah,
Talking Brain, which is the name of our show.
Yeah,
you will find some phenomenal videos on there. Videos that we have favorited, and videos that we have posted that speak to these cosmological changes that are occurring in our galaxy, which is, through deductive reasoning and logic, we can say are being affected by cosmological frequency changes that are occurring in other galaxies. But as we we do know that there are cosmological frequency changes that are occurring in our galaxy.
Yes.
We do know that these are I want to say in align to the alignment that it's a lot of align.
It's a lot of
and
alignment.
I'm here with Aline.
I know, and if you spell my name, it's actually spelled Aline.
Yes,
that's quite funny.
Quite a lot of alignment.
I kind of like it. I'm aligned.
Yes. So they are actually congruent with that which has been stipulated by many of the ancient cultures, including the one that is the most famous right now, which is the Mayan, because of their calendar, but it's actually been denoted by many other cultures around the world that have spoken to
about this
period of time. Even the Greek culture,
all of them,
the Roman cultures,
the
just
Eastern
have the Indian cultures.
Yeah.
They just have different names for it.
Yeah.
For example, you have the.
It's kind of like the sacred geometry.
It is.
It's
a circle, and we are merely on a cyclical, like our natural rhythm of beingness, where we all sleep and then we wake, and we have the cyclical rhythm that we live by. Our Earth and our cosmos has its own cyclical rhythm, which we know with the planets revolving around the sun.
Yes.
Well, there's also a cyclical rhythm to the way that they revolve around the sun. And this has been denoted by again, many ancient cultures that have foretold it and have taken note of it in history, documented it. And so what is occurring right now is that we are at the cusp of the conclusion of one of the cycles. And so this cycle would be, I think it was
Isn't it kind of like an infinite cycles of cycle after cycle?
Yes.
So it's kind of like,
it's cyclical.
which is actually, infinity is a cycle.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like it's infinity within the infinity of it all.
Yes.
So it's like
it's infinitely cyclical.
It's the same thing as when you say, right now is right now, and all of a sudden now is now.
But you would like to hope that in the cyclical nature that we are existing within, that we are rising, and so that when
I would like to think of it as broadening.
So when
I guess it's broadening, rising. It's all the same,
repeat.
depending on which perception you're looking at it, right?
Yes.
So if you're looking at a circle, for example, you're looking at a circle from this end, from this perception, you're looking at it like this. Whereas, somebody else could look at a circle like that, because it's twisted, right? So it's the same thing in life. So if we are rising, as we are going through day to day and growing and rising above or higher vibration, or however you want to say, basically it's growth, right? Transcending, is to also see it as an expanding.
Yes, and we do cyclically. That is what happens. What my aspiration is for all of we is that when the cycle starts to repeat, it means that when you go, it's a cycle, right? Where we are rising. So you go from there's the Iron Age, for example, into the silver, into the bronze, into the silver, into the golden. Well, from the golden, you go back to the silver, to the bronze, to the iron. So my aspiration for all of we is that the golden age, which is where we are entering right now, and how lucky are all of we to have chosen to be here now. I shouldn't use the word lucky because we chose it, but hello.
Well, it's quite a phenomenal time, yes.
Yes. So my aspiration for all is that when the cycle starts to go this way, so like the waxing and waning of the moon, when we go down in our cycle, it's not so far down.
Right. So you just...
Right?
Don't hit rock bottom, everybody.
You have the fall of Atlantis that we hear
about. You want to rise above.
I would like to think that over the last, I think it's 24,000 years that a cycle takes. And cycles are based on, by the way, also
cycle
astronomically.
Of what? Just to
it's called the Great Year, the Great Cycle.
Oh, like the Bronze Age, the ages, you mean?
Yes.
Okay.
But it's not just the ages. Okay. It's also it's also, as we were saying, it's in the Mayan, the Indian.
What's the exact number you said? Do you know? Are you sure?
Between 24 to 26,000 years, which is also relative to how long it takes for our cosmos to traverse through all of the astrological signs.
Right. 24,000.
24 to 26. Yes, there's some play.
I'm surprised it's
there.
not 28, being that 28 is that's basically how many days it takes for the moon cycle. You know, to go from full to new is 28 days.
Because it's 2,000 years per sign times 12 signs is 24,000 years.
Oh, that's very good.
Da-da-da.
Definitely, that's really, really, yeah. But
so that's why.
But that's according to
everybody.
No, that's according to the human experience of time, right?
Oh, yes, but that's
because really, how do we know what is a second? Really, when we gave the second a second, which what we know it as we can count a second, where we could have just said a second is as long as an hour.
We could have.
We could have.
Yes,
but
we haven't.
Basically, to what we know as we've created the time and given its definition and the time, right? The measurement of.
Mm-hmm.
So according to that, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So so being that which I'm loving, I'm actually loving that we're on a cyclical topic. Everything is a cycle. The world is a circle. Your life is a cycle. Everything is ebbing and flowing in cycle, which the year 212 is also something that's happening, which is also a cyclical event, right? It is something that
it's the culmination of that. So it's reaching the pinnacle of the ending of that 24,000 year period that has been foretold by all of these different ancient cultures, and that one can, as an astronomer, actually see the shifting of the planets that are coming into alignment.
Right.
And the sun and the Milky Way and the Earth and the whole shifting that's occurring.
Mm-hmm. So,
and that which brings us back to
which
what
brings
we were
another era.
Is
that what it does? It's basically it's beginning a new era, a new transcendence, a new. It just makes you wonder what else can we continue coming to, right? I mean, we've seen the past from what we've read, right? From also some experiences that's been passed from each age, what the evolution, right? The evolvement of technology, for example. It just makes me wonder what we're evolving more above technology. I just think about that. Think about that. What do you like? Isn't that interesting? Don't you think?
Well, I have my own theories about that.
Yes. Okay. Well, let's hear about your theories.
I think that technology is. I think that we have been raped of our intrinsic, raped of the knowledge of our intrinsic abilities. And kind of like an animal who's caught in a cage, we're doing everything that we can to get ourselves back to whom we are naturally. And so we have developed all of these wonderful, phenomenally advanced technological systems that for me are representative of or reflections of who we actually are and what our actual abilities are. And so we are able to see the breadth of our reach. For example, with the internet today, we can have a conversation with somebody here in Canada. We can have a conversation with somebody in Australia at the flick of a switch. And that
but we're doing it through technology.
Yes,
we're doing it through objects or through things.
Yes, so that's my point. Is that the thing becomes, it's external to us, but it's giving us the idea of it, the awareness of it. So everything begins with the awareness. So I think we intrinsically have the awareness. We've created these technological tools in order to physically see capabilities that we don't necessarily remember that we have. Right. So that we will get to the point where eventually we will all close the lids of our laptops and just, have a conversation
and function like the computer is functioning. So
because the computers are an extension of ourselves.
Well, they are. They're completely an extension. I just want to say hello and welcome to Rick Rick Lell. Am I pronouncing? I'm hoping that I'm pronouncing
Yes,
your last
Rick
name.
Lell, yes.
Rick
Hello,
Lell.
hello, hello. Very good to see you too, Rick. Thank you
Yes.
so very much for joining us. In Lakesh Alakin, namaste.
Yes.
Thank you. We look forward to sharing within your words of fabulous wisdom.
That's right. So it's the theory that you said that you have your own theory is that, which I, you know, there's so many, right? But I think that,
well, this is mine.
That's yours, yes, absolutely. Well, that's what I said. There's so
Yes.
many different theories and opinions, and obviously, and each one all have their own value and credibility too as well. But it does make sense if we, I mean, if think about this, if we human beings are the ones creating everything that is, shouldn't we be able to do that with our own beingness, right? So if we are creating such amazing, like who would have thought, you know, in the caveman days, for example, right, that there would be such a thing as looking at a box or something like which
well,
I'm calling the
there
television.
was absolutely no awareness of it whatsoever.
There was no awareness
but
of
they
it.
they may have been operating on a much more intrinsic level than we do.
Okay, so you're saying
they may have been so much more attuned to one another intuitively.
Well, I believe that. I agree with that.
Because there was not so much extraneous stuff all around that was, you know, taking their attentions away from you know, that which is truly of importance, your family's needs and the people around you and you know, enjoying life and the gift that life is. We've become as far away from that as I think we could possibly have become with respect to those who once lived according to nature in completeness. Although we do have many wonderful intentional communities actually that are existing today to show us about that. So
it does. It actually makes perfect sense. Somebody who, you know, is unfortunate and has unfortunately is unable to hear, a blind person or see, for example, right?
Someone who doesn't hear is
blind? Well, no, anybody who's whether deaf or blind or you know, unfortunate of the things that we are have the ability, so blessed with, and right?
So very rarely attribute gratitude towards.
Yes, so those who are not, their focus. So, for example, a blind person would have such a higher, keen, sense to hearing. So their hearing becomes that much more than the person who has their vision, for example, right?
Correct.
So when you're giving I'm just saying that because I'm agreeing with when you're saying that maybe in the caveman days when they had much more, they weren't relying on technology, they weren't relying on outside sources to do and get to what they needed to do. So their senses were much more heightened, right? They were using their natural energy source or more aware of it because of that. So
they were also much more in tune with nature. They lived by the laws of nature. They lived in accordance to the rhythm of nature.
We're spoiled. I think we're spoiled. We're spoiled right now. We would not know how to deal with the cold, for example. The weather, being outside, you know, they built their homes like in like trees and whatever they built, right? And they put up with the caves and whatnot, and they had to build fire, you know. That's so difficult and struggling for us to be able to do that. We are spoiled. You don't think we're spoiled?
I don't want to say that we're spoiled.
She doesn't want to say that we're spoiled.
No, because I don't think that it's necessary that we have to...
but we're still relying upon.
Yes, but I don't think it's necessary that we need to make it more difficult, right? With our intrinsic abilities in place, we can merely think, you know, looking at some wood that is sitting and kindled and stuff. With our intrinsic ability, we can direct our energy to that wood to create fire. Because we have 100 trillion cells inside of our body.
But the caveman didn't do that.
I know.
Right.
I'm saying
I
don't want to be going back. It's not
right.
necessary
to go back.
have to go back
okay.
to being lacking or to having a difficult life. The point is to transcend higher.
Okay. So
the point is that we should be living in luxuriously leisurely lives of joy and gratitude,
right,
and to so do is to be able to recognize that everything, you hear it all of the time, everything you have, you need, everything you want is within you.
That's true.
Okay, well, show me how to make that happen.
Right.
And we do have the ability to make it happen. We have 100 trillion cells that are full of energy, enough energy in accordance to scientific data to light up all of New York City.
Okay.
That's a lot of power.
Yeah. Why aren't we doing it?
So, because we haven't been taught. Because we have
well,
been...
if we have it within us, shouldn't we be able to teach ourselves?
Well, it's kind of difficult
if it's all
when you've
in
been
us?
Conditioned.
Right.
Right?
Right.
It's a little difficult when you've been dampened by everything.
Well, that's the same.
Which is why we have all of these computers and other things that we are showing ourselves. This is what we're doing. We are teaching ourselves. That's the whole 24,000 year cycle, is that you forgot everything and now you're going to remember everything until you actually get to the point that you are being.
So it's kind of like we've been conditioned a certain way, and
based on fear,
based on experience, fear, and so on and so forth. Life in general.
Fear.
We can make a song, Fear. Anything I say.
Fear.
So, yes. And what fear does is actually, I think it's a blinder. Fear is nothing more than a blinder to enlightenment. It's a block. It's the block of the chakras.
Yes.
It's the block of your natural energy flow. It's the block of your happiness. It's the block of your content. It's the block of joy and bliss.
It's the block of your abilities. It's the block of your divinity. It's the block of our truth.
And it's kind of like, the mule. Is it the mule or however they, when they put those blinders on the mule? So it might do, right? So then they're focused on just seeing anybody who is focusing on their fears in life, that's what you're doing to yourself, really, is you're putting these blinders and then you're stopping yourself from really being able to see the good and the change and the evolvement, and so therefore to evolve and to transcend higher, as you like to say it.
Higher or more expanded or more clean and clear, elevated. It's allowing yourself to be vibrating at the frequency that is harmonizing with that of the universe instead of fighting with it.
Yeah, well.
Or hiding from it.
Right. I guess I can, yeah.
So.
Hiding from it. I'm trying to see how we're hiding from it.
We're blocking it from flowing through us. We're blocking our own energy from flowing. So it's like it's contracting,
right, instead of
expanding.
I think as far as transcendence goes and the cyclical life and repetitiveness and conditioning of the society and experience on day to day, it's all a big bag of mush. Really, it's a big bag of mush. Everything is a big bag of mush, and we ourselves give everything that we want to give attention to or not, right? And I think now that the transitions are happening, planetary and we are transcending and we are growing, basically evolving, whatever you want to call it. I think transcending is the best word. Is really about the self. It's about us. It's not about anything else but the self, and which is also the same thing as the conscious. Which is what was I watching yesterday?
The observer.
The
effect?
observer. Yes, the observer effect,
which you can also find on Soul's Talking Brain.
That's right. Yes.
A YouTube channel. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes. The observer effect. Well, our experience of beingness, of life, is completely contingent on our choosing how we are going to perceive, receive, and respond. How we look at something, and which of course depends upon our awareness, how much awareness, knowledge, wisdom that we have to allow ourselves the breadth of which we can look upon something.
Right.
And therefore interpret the something, receive it internally, have feelings and thoughts about it, and then our response to it. And what you see, for example, when we're looking at the screen versus what I see will never be exactly identical in our individual experience, because we are, of course, all one, but we come here to be the individual reflections of the one that we all are.
Right.
And we will never have the exact same, because you've had your own life experiences that have given you the awareness that they have, that have given you meanings and associations.
My life basically shapes the way I'm experiencing life right now.
That I haven't had.
Yeah.
And so you're looking here and you're saying, oh, I really love that color, purple.
Okay.
And I might be looking and saying, that color purple kind of looks washed out to me.
Right.
And so we're looking at the same thing and yet seeing something completely different. And the experience of what that is, what that becomes,
right,
it's completely dependent on who's looking at it.
So even though it's the same actually thing right now for you, all you lovely viewers out there, hello. What you're watching right now, your experience, every single one of you is experiencing something different, even though you guys are all watching the same thing, right?
Guys and gals.
Yes, you are. So however you've been...
Ladies and gentlemen.
That's right.
Earth Angels Divine.
Earth Angels Divine. I'm trying to think of... Maybe there's some animals as well watching.
That would be an Earth
That would be really cool.
Too.
So everyone's experience is different, even though it's so... I was just thinking when you said that, when you just started saying that, and I'm thinking, of course it's different. Or actually imagine, I'm experiencing visually, for example, from this angle, right? And from this angle, this is what I'm seeing. And so even though we're having the same experience, it's quite amazing to me that hundreds, if not millions, if not billions of people in this world can experience one event at the same time, that's the same event, and have a billion perceptions about it.
Welcome to Live On 2. Welcome to Soul's Talking Brain. We are blissed, and humbled to have you with us here today. So, yes.
Yeah, so it's quite amazing. So think about that for a moment. It's amazing that even though we've got all these different theories and different ideas and different beliefs and different faiths and thoughts, etc., 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 about something, it's so, who's to say which one is the right one and which one is the right experience and which one is the right? So at the end of the day, it makes it sort of, you become humbled, and you should become humbled. I think everybody should be humbled. And
yes.
There is, as the world is the world, we only see it the way we're seeing it. But then there's a whole, how many people in this world? 2 billion?
6 billion.
I'm all over this lately. I never remember it. I don't know why. I don't know why I keep thinking it's 2 billion.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure that the 4 billion people that you left out are
I'm sorry, the 4 billion people that I left you out of this world. So the 6 billion people that live on this planet, right? Not one single one of us, the 6 billion, is the right one.
Right. Nobody has ownership.
Nobody has ownership
over any perceptual reality. We are all here. Well, isn't that the
transcending? So, like, if 6 billion people right now are transcending, every day we're all transcending some way, somehow, right? Growing. And everyone is at a different level, and everyone is a different space, and everyone, for each one is different.
Yeah.
But we're all still experiencing growth.
And life. and
life.
beingness.
Yes.
We are experiencing the experience
Yes.
of life.
Yes.
Each of us.
Yes.
And each of us is a wonderful reflection of that experience. And so we have the ability, because we have 6 billion different reflections, to share with one another within the knowledge and the wisdom of our experience. That is the beauty of existing in a world with other people, is that you have all these different ways to see what life is. Yeah. And the experience of life. Yeah. And not just life, but us. Yeah. How amazing are we that we are able to replicate ourselves 6 billion times over again, over and over, in completely new, different ways. It's proof in the pudding. There's, that it's infinite, the number of perceptions that are available. It's infinite, the number of interpretations that are available. If we had, instead of 6 billion people on the planet, 300 trillion, there would be 300 trillion unique perceptions. Yeah. Each one, even if you have two that are very similar, still they would be
they're still different. They're
unique
still never
in some way.
Still, they're not exact.
Yes.
And which is what I was wanting to say, is that, the different theorists and religions or belief systems and faiths and ideas and you name it, right, should all be humbled. I'm humbled because not one single one of them is the right one, and not one single one of them is wrong.
Yes, each has their merits.
So that is just one way of being humble.
That was similar to the
with each other, our family members in this world.
Our essay that we had written with respect to dogmatic thinking.
Yeah. Yes, we just have from Rick Lell, we send love.
From Height Ashbury, flowing freely through me and the kids to you. And we openly receive and send forth back positive energy to you, your children, and to all of the wonderful earth angels who are joining us here today. Yes. And of course, who are watching and enjoying the recording of today's show. Thank you so very much for joining. And then we have Levon saying, since we are part of the cosmos, then we can influence it, right? Yes.
Wait, that's right. It's the other way around, right? Which is influence, our influence back. I never thought of it that way. Sorry, go on.
How could you have never thought of it that way when we've dedicated our lives
to
being positive influence?
It's the influence, which is, because we say that
you have thought of it, you just didn't think of it so directly.
Because we didn't think exactly.
Because that's what we've dedicated our lives to being, sweetie. Yeah. We've dedicated ourselves to being a positive influence for the benefit of all, and therefore for the cosmos.
Yes, I think
that's our personal legend.
I think I wasn't reading that properly then.
No, I think you just got humbled.
Yeah, but there you go.
How
See,
amazing
I'm humble.
You are.
See, how nice is it to be humble?
She's just been humbled by herself. She's just been humbled by what an amazing individual she is.
Yes, and I think that's really, really what we all should be feeling as much as we can, is to be humbled instead of egoic
and prideful. Yeah. Yes. Well, we actually had a conversation the other day, and we were saying someone had made a statement. Oh, I'm so proud that that this is something that I do, and we had said
it was what we were playing in somebody else's life. So you're proud of being that experience in somebody else's life.
Whatever. Yeah. Yes. So they said that they were proud. And our response was, instead of using the word proud, to use the word honored. Yes. Right? Yes, and it's a very small, very, very small shift in the energy, and yet it is a huge shift in meaning, because to go from being
there you
proud,
go. It's the other perception again.
You
that's
feel this proud is suddenly a from this to honored. It's kind of more like a halo effect. Well, and yet both of them are similar, and yet that small little change goes from the egoic to
humble.
To the humbled. Exactly.
To the humbled.
and yet you're still doing the same thing. The person was proud that they were doing something positive and felt really good about themselves that they were doing that.
Yeah.
And you want to feel good about yourself, but you want to feel good about yourself from a position of humbled gratitude. Humbled gratitude that you have the opportunity to be, number one. Humbled gratitude that you are allowing for the flow of yourself. And of course, humbled gratitude to have others to share who you are with.
Yes.
And so to make that small little shift is to affect the cosmos through affecting other people by starting with yourself.
Yeah.
Which is in humbling self.
Yes. We've got another comment from Rick Wells from Facebook. 2 hippie kids with me at coffee to people, rainbow family.
Yay!
That's lovely. Now you're making me want to go for, come and join you right there for coffee.
Yes, or welcoming you here, which actually, I did want to make a couple of announcements, if I can do that. I guess right now.
You can do that right now.
First and foremost, I wanted to let anyone who is in the Toronto, or as I've been hearing the term much more so since moving back, the T-Dot area.
Yeah, they say T-Dot. Isn't that cool?
Yes.
I like that.
Sanctuary Souls Sanctuary, which is our Wisdom and Wellness Lounge, who is the mama of it all, will be opening her doors to members of the Toronto community or those whom are visiting Toronto for classes coming up in the near future, meditation classes, as well as live discussions as that which we are having here today, that which we do here with all of you on Souls Talking Brain. We will be inviting members of the community to come in and partake in live, in-person discussion. So please do make sure that you stay tuned. Can we put on our Facebook? Yes, the Facebook fan page is up. We will be announcing them on our Facebook pages.
Yeah. So
stay tuned because there will be the spacing is obviously limited.
Yeah.
So you will have to pre-register. But we are very much looking forward to welcoming you all into the wonderful, humbled home of Sanctuary Soul Sanctuary.
That's right.
So that was number one. And then number two, to any whom are watching, and perhaps maybe there's those that you know of, friends of yours or acquaintances or associates that are experts in WordPress, most specifically WordPress e-commerce platforms. We are seeking assistance, and if you know of or if you yourself are an e-commerce WordPress guru, get in touch with us. Oh, I love that you did that. Right here at BEingness@oneisall.com. We are seeking assistance. We've got 2 online stores that are just bubbling and bursting with energy
ready to launch,
to come and embrace all of you with their beauty and bountiful positivity. So again, BeingLove@oneisall.com. That's where you can get a hold of us and let us know if you are that guru that we are seeking, who has the abilities to whip up some beauty with WordPress e-commerce platforms.
That's right. That is fabulous. Going back to just to Facebook, we have 2 Facebook pages, and if you're not already a member of one or either or 2, if you are, then that's fabulous. We've got Soul Talking Brain. I'll just put the show on Being Love Facebook fan page, which you can see the URL. I've shortened the URL so it's easier for access. And just go and like the button, and you'll have all news that we will be putting up for everything that's going on, including for Soul Talking Brain show on Soul Talking Brain on Being Love Facebook page.
Oh, and
now, actually,
yes.
you just can't wait.
It's
right
so
now that we're watching this, if you go to this URL right now that you're seeing and just type it into your browser, you'll see that we are right now embedded into our Facebook page live. So anytime the show is on, you don't have to leave Facebook if you want to be there. You can also watch Soul Talking Brain show right from our Facebook page. So that's
yes,
very cool.
Embedded live on Facebook. So that's very exciting.
Yeah.
And we are very blessed.
Yes.
To be able to offer that, and we're also available on the iPhone, aren't we?
Yes, we are. So, but before, I can also the other second Facebook page that we have is Radiating Love with Roni Lipstein, which actually I'll get to in a minute and show you just a little snippet of when she's going to be on. It's our Earth Angel, Roni Lipstein over here, and it is with the show that she does here on Ustream as well on Being Love channel, Radiating Love with Roni Lipstein. And this is the fan page information over here. So please do join and get all the information from there. And the shows will also be embedded on there as well. So that's very cool.
All of our shows are now going to be embedded on
that's right.
Facebook. It's very exciting.
One other thing, I know there's just all these cool things to say, is if you have the iPhone, you can go to ustream.tv and then look at their mobile applications, and you just download. It's free. Download Ustream Viewer app, and through that you'll be able to watch our show again, Soul Talking Brain and Radiating Love on the iPhone through the Ustream Viewer app. So application. So it's it's fabulous, because if you're not in front of your computer and you're missing this fabulous show, then you can watch it on your iPhone. And I think they have it also for the BlackBerry, and coming soon I think they might have it for Android as well. So definitely check that out.
Yay!
We are accessible in many ways.
You can take us with you.
Take us with you everywhere.
Wherever you go.
So continuing on, today we've been, anyone who's joining in right now, we're saying hello, and we're just keeping everybody updated onto how to stay updated with us. And we've just been talking about transcendence here on Soul Talking Brain show today. Transitioning in this cyclical world. A cycle of change, and it's one cycle from one cycle to the next cycle.
And also, we have brought forth one of the greatest important aspects of any type of transcending, transitioning, enlightenment, which is the actual process thereof. We focus a lot on the final moment. It's very... It's very romantic, and everybody likes to get to the end as quickly as possible. However, in order to get to the aha moment, one must traverse through that which is stopping you from being there in the first place. And of course, that is facing your fears, which there was quite a lot of fear facing recently here in Toronto, where with Toronto hosting the G8 and the G20.
The G20 that took place in June of 2010, and I'm sure if you haven't heard of it, it was here in Toronto, where we are right now.
And just so I didn't know anything about the G20 or the G8, because back when I was younger than my son, who's currently 14, I turned a blind eye to politics and the news, and for really good purposes, as has shown forth. The G20 and the G8 are the meetings of the global leaders with respect to leaders of countries, which are, of course, countries based upon arbitrary lines of division of our Earth school, which is really not something that you can divide. But we found a way to make a line in the Earth and say that this side is mine and that side is yours, and appoint a leader to each of the sides, and so that we can have these big, huge meetings called G8s and G20s, and spend millions, if not billions, of money that is not the leader's money to spend, but actually is coming out of the pockets of the people who are living on the Earth School, unknowingly, on these arbitrary lines of division that have been set forth by others who have chosen to claim power and ownership over a globe, which is kind of weird to me, but somebody's trying to claim ownership over a speck of dust in the cosmos. But okay, yay you! You own it. It kind of gives me this visualization of somebody putting a belt around the earth and trying to take it for a walk, like a dog.
Oh, right.
You know what I mean? And it's this little man or little woman who is holding on to the belt that's wrapped around the earth, and they're taking it for a walk.
Yeah.
Because that would be ownership, right?
Well,
how ridiculous is that?
sorry.
I
think you just blew everyone's ears off.
You said I needed to talk louder.
Yeah.
There you go.
Not into it.
Is that loud enough?
I guess it was. Well, there was a lot of
a little bit
horrible
blowing of the mind, isn't it?
Yeah.
So yes, the G20. We had all of these leaders that were here, and we spent millions of dollars of the people's money in order to protect these leaders whom seamlessly travel around the globe all year round without any problems, having their own security, and are all okay.
Yeah. And
they met here and brought in police officers who are supposed to protect the people, to protect these leaders from the people. And of course, this initiated this enormous fear-based environment, which, again, I had no idea what the leaders are. Basically, they get together and they have some fancy meals and meetings to discuss how they would like the world to be for the rest of we. We're not allowed, by the way, to be in the meetings, hear about the meetings, know about the meetings. We know of the meetings. We don't know anything that's going on in the meetings, because these are elected officials that are supposed to be meeting on our behalf. And so they've spent all of this money for protecting these leaders from we the people, whom they are there supposedly meeting on our behalf. Isn't that ludicrous?
It's all ludicrous.
And so then they,
in my humble opinion,
they created this enormous fear-based environment, which unfortunately we the people reacted to. And Aline made a phenomenal statement that would be quite lovely, because as it turns out, once we became aware of the G20, it turns out that wherever the G20 is,
same thing happens.
Same thing happens.
Yeah.
It's rioting, it's people screaming and yelling, it's fighting, it's loss of human rights and human dignity and humanity, essentially. And Aline's response to the entirety of this whole event was quite a transcendent one, I do believe. And what was your response that you believe that would be the best response to all of this armory and weaponry and defensive protection that was supposedly needed from the people?
You know, it's expected that whenever they have the G20, that it's expected. It's because they know this is what's going to happen. That
unless
there's going to be major
about the G20,
that there's going to be major riots, major protests, and whether it's peaceful or it's not peaceful, it matters not, because it ends up being violent anyway because of the law and the police, quote unquote, law. Want to come in and basically protect these, I don't know, 7 or 8 of them who come in to have this meeting about our lives and how our lives are going to run. So if you are very smart about going and hearing and protesting, is the smartest thing to do is you don't go in front of them. If we all who are going to go, which are a lot of people, it's hundreds of people who do go. is to, if you want a statement, don't you think a better statement would be made if you don't show up at all? If you don't show up at all, but you go with your dignity and your pride and your ideas as humans, as for your rights as a human being on this planet, and have your peaceful protest elsewhere, somewhere else that they're not. Because I think that that's making a bigger statement than doing it in front of them. Why is it a bigger statement? Because they're not gonna want to blow you up and gun you down and throw tear gas at you and dehumanize you because you want your voice heard. You do it somewhere else, and you know what? I think that makes a bigger statement.
Well, it's like pie in their face.
Because they'll be sitting there. They spend $2 million for their security, and $2 million they can put back into the drain because nobody else showed up. In fact, they went somewhere else and had their peaceful protest.
And if I can take the peaceful
Just a thought.
If I can take the peaceful protest one step further, we have a friend who's actually planning a protest in the next couple of years, and I think we've all forgotten what Woodstock was about.
Yes.
Because it was such a love fest.
Yeah.
And there's so many more love fests that are going on today, and they've definitely become exemplary of intentional communities living communally, living lovingly together for peaceful purposes. But we've forgotten what the intention of Woodstock was, what the purpose behind Woodstock was, which was not only to signify and to show to everyone how we can live together lovingly, but was to say not only to live lovingly, but to not live not lovingly. Right? Woodstock occurred as a protest to war. Okay?
Well, yes.
So we have forgotten.
But they did it somewhere else. They went in the middle of nowhere.
They went in the middle, but they didn't just have a protest where they were screaming and yelling.
No, they were just.
They had a festival of love. And so, what better way? Yes, JJ, we can see you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, thank you. What better way to show the peacefulness that we are asking for? What better way to say, to show the humanity that we all deserve and are worthy of? What better way to say $2 million should be given to our babies and our senior citizens, to the ill, to those who are requiring to be uplifted,
those who don't have homes,
than to have a peaceful festival of love in which we are being the example.
Being the example.
Instead of being the example of that which we are protesting, which is anger, which is anger, separation, it's all which is putting down people, the less thans, the not enoughs, the delineation, the division between status quo.
Who's better? Who's this? Who's that? You're taking my right away. Well, you're giving them their right to take away when you are going and protesting in front of them violently. Even if you're just standing there and singing in front of them, why would you need to go in front of them? You can prove a point in a much more louder manner by so many other methods, so many other ways.
And Woodstock is the example of that, which people today, there's a lot of love fests that are going on that people are enjoying just merely the experience of it.
Yeah.
But it's important for us to recognize that these love festivals are really us being the example. And we need to start to send forth this message out more so. We were recently at a festival. It was not publicized. Nobody knew about it.
No.
But to have it have been publicized, to have examples of this out there, we have intentional communities today that are existing, and they exist to be the example for all of we. You have 30, 50, 70 people who are reliant on 2 cars. 2 cars. Their carbon footprint is minimal, if at all. They are growing their land. They are utilizing the resources that they have available to them, whilst replenishing that which they are taking.
Yeah.
So we need to start to be the example of that which we are protesting for, instead of spending so much of our energy protesting.
Well, the protesting is that you're actually going. I mean, granted, there is good in it as well. There's good in it. There is good that you're going and you're making your voice heard, and absolutely. But how much more? How are you? Is it just your voice? Because it's really just your voice, or is it just you doing the action, being the example, being the change, living the change? Because that's the only way you make a statement, is by living it, not by just preaching it, not by shouting it. And that's,
even though we're shouting it right now.
You know, it's a, well, I mean, the protests are they are very helpful. They're very good.
But a protest can be,
but it can
done,
yeah, in so many ways,
different ways.
Exactly.
We can have a peaceful those people who went up and got into the police officers' faces.
Yeah.
They could have made their point by all just sitting in the middle of the road.
Yeah, but you know
Quietly.
what? There's you know what? A lot of people will say otherwise. There was people that actually
do that,
went,
and they did
sat down, and they were singing.
I know, but there was only
and
like
they still
20
all
of
got
them.
Beaten up, and they still
there was
got
only
attacked.
20 of them.
No, but they still, what they did is they went into, went into the area that was set aside for the peaceful protesters, and they still went there, and they still went and.
But imagine that instead of there being 20 or 30 or 100, there was thousands.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? So instead of us
you're saying if it was
sprawling out in all of these different means by which we're protesting, you had these people singing there, and you had these people getting up in the people's faces, and you had these people yelling, these people dancing. If they all gathered together peacefully in one place.
Yeah. So you're saying if there was more of them?
Well, the ones who were attacked that did sit down in the road, they sang "Oh Canada," and then they were going to sit down, and the police came charging at them. There's like 20 of them.
Well, because what the police was doing was that if the police was saying move, 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 and basically letting the people know that they want them out of there, and if the people are not listening and they're still just maintaining sitting there, then the police is letting them know that either move or we're going to come after you. And people did not move, and they came after them. Is that right that they're still coming after them when the people are still just sitting there and singing or just standing there? Was that justifiable to have to go after the people when they're just sitting there? Even though you want them to move, what are they really doing? Why do you want them to move?
But you're speaking about the people who sat outside of.
You're saying if a lot of
but
people,
it was outside of the zone where people were told to stay away from.
It was further away.
Yes,
but they
because
still
there
went
was very few of them there.
Well, but
so the police were all already on a testosterone high.
Right.
So no offense or anything, we all have testosterone, female and male alike.
Yes.
But there was no need for them to have done that. But it was so few of them there. That's my point. So if everybody had moved away from the zone and went, I think it was Spadina and Queen area, and all went there, all those people, there was thousands who went away from there and all just sat down in the middle of Queen and Spadina, for example.
I just think that it doesn't even, there's really not much that is making a difference when the amount of people that went and the amount of people that posted, people wrote articles. It was published in newspapers and magazines and online and blogs and YouTube and Vimeo videos left, right, and center. And as much as all this is happening, what justice has it brought?
Well, and this is why we're speaking about it, because we're hoping that the next time there's a meeting, that there will be some cleaning out of the chakra systems, so that people won't be responding to the fear, right? Because the government's response to put $2 million, to sink $2 million of our money into protection, which was completely uncalled for and unnecessary, right? They began that with their fear. We responded to it with ours.
Yes.
So then let us not respond with the fear, which is why, which was what you had said, which I thought was so
just do it a
brilliant.
Way.
What if we don't show up?
Don't show up. Like what?
Then they've spent all this money for naught.
For naught. I think it just makes a big statement. It's doing the unexpected obviously gets the attention a lot faster.
Yes. And so let us
when
hope
you're
that the
doing what
next
is
time-
expected, which is they spend the millions of dollars and they're expecting a riot, you gave them, all of us people, gave them what they were expecting.
Yeah.
So give them what they're not expecting. Just a thought, an idea.
Exactly.
Put that out there.
And don't.
And stand for your rights as a human being.
By not falling prey to the fear.
As a citizen of the world. Not a citizen of a country. A citizen of the world. Think about that.
Absolutely. And so we are able to transcend our fears. And the fears are, generally speaking, fears that are conditioned.
Well, this is really the time right now, which we have been talking about, which we started the topic today in Soul's Talking Brain show, of transcendence.
Yes, that's why we brought it up, because it was such a major
is transcending these patterns, these transcending worldly expectancies, different ways and different means by which we are doing peacefully. And that really is what we are all transcending to. So the next era, 212, and so on and so forth, that is coming, is all really about transcending.
Facing our fears lovingly, humbly.
Yeah.
Recognizing that no one is right, no one is wrong. We are all different viewpoints, different perspectives.
Not one right or wrong than the other.
And hopefully all of us coming together through and to the one truth that we can all, every one of us, regardless of how we perceive it, receive it, or respond to it, the one truth that we can all agree upon, which is love.
That's right.
Always. You know, there is a quote the Dalai Lama had said, I think, which is that no matter where you're at, no matter whom you are, there is no denying that people seek pleasure and avoid pain.
Yeah.
That people seek to be happy.
Yeah.
And to not have to endure sadness and pain. That people seek love.
Yeah.
We all seek love.
Yeah.
All of us.
Yeah.
So if that's what we are all attracted to, regardless of our age, ethnicity, culture, geographical location, religion, if you have one, sex, sexuality, education, I can keep going on and on.
Pretty much
regardless,
every
single one of us is attracted to feeling good, to feeling love.
Yeah.
That in and of itself is the greatest statement of all, I think, that any one of us could make and accept and embrace. And I think that's where our transcendence is taking us, to the point where we will actually be physically manifesting that truth and that reality.
That's right.
So
most definitely. I wanted to take just a moment, just a little break, before we close the show today, and that is our second show that we have, which is Radiating Love with Roni Lipstein. It's every second Friday, the same way as Soul's Talking Brain is every second Friday. So
Wednesday.
Every second Wednesday. And Radiating Love with Roni Lipstein will be airing not this Friday, but the Friday coming. Yeah. So that would be... would that be August?
I will tell you in 2 moments. It will be Friday, the 30th. Of July. The final Friday of July, and we'll be talking about raising enlightened children.
Oh, wonderful.
Yes.
That's really cool. So the URL is right there. To the show, and Roni Lipstein is your host right here. So it's Radiating Love with Roni Lipstein, July 30th at 1 p.m. here on Ustream Live on Being Love channel.
And that's 1 p.m. Eastern Time, which is 10 a.m. Pacific. And of course, if you are unable to come out to our live shows, all of our shows are recorded.
That's right.
And you can
see them right now at the bottom. You see the media stream right now. If you're watching this, if you're watching this live, if you're watching this recorded, you won't see them down here. But if you're watching this live, you'll see all the recorded videos. Or you could just go to ustream.tv, Being Love, /Being Love.
It's /
and you get all the archived. No, you could actually say it's Being Love. It was just really cool. I just found that out. Okay. It actually switches it on its own.
Yay!
So yeah, and you can just watch all the other shows, and feel free to leave your comments and your thoughts and your ideas. If there's anything that you want us to talk about, if there's anything that you'd like to share, this is an open forum. Soul's Talking Brain show right now, right here, is an open forum. It's an open forum for all to partake and interact with your ideas and share. Now, we usually have 2 other sections that we do here on Soul's Talking Brain.
But we've been transcending, so we've had a little bit of brain freeze of late.
That's right.
So we look forward to reintroducing Going with the Flow cards and Good Deed Doer.
Good Deed Doer, that's right.
In 2 weeks. And that date will be, August the 4th, Wednesday, August the 4th, at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific, and we are looking forward to bringing back Good Deed Doer and Going with the Flow cards so that we may all enjoy their wondrous experience of beingness with all of you.
That's right. And so that will be August 4th. Yeah. That would be a Wednesday, and it's 2 p.m. Every second Wednesday, and that's our summer schedule so far. And well, before we finish the show today, I wanted to actually say we love you. I'm sure there's a love there, right? Because there's a space in between, so there's got to be a symbol there.
It is.
Yes.
You're not seeing it.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it.
We love you too, Rick.
Yes, thank you so much, Rick. All love back. I want to say, JJ, thank you. We could see you, although we don't see you anymore. And Yvonne too, thank you as well for joining in, and look forward to seeing you all again August 4th.
On our next Soul's Talking Brain show. Thank you so much for coming today. Thank you so much for watching and for sharing within your wonderful energy with all of we. enLIGHTened, we are another you. And we look forward to sharing within you here on Soul's Talking Brain. Blessedly be.
Talking brain, enlightened minds, seeking out truths, seeing the world with the mind of those who see beyond the three-dimensionally. Soul's talking brain, ask the right questions, uncovers the blinds. Soul's talking brain, enlightening minds, oh yeah, seeking out truth.